Hello students, a very good morning to you. Today we will continue our chapter 11 of class 11, that is transport in plants. In my last class, I have told you that how different type of pathway is used by plant to transport different substances towards the leaf. That's why the paths involved are apoplastic and symplastic movements, in which we see that how the apoplastic and symplastic movement combiningly transport water by the root hairs to the vascular tissue, and then from vascular tissue it goes through leaves. Today we will study about upward movement in plants. It means after reaching to the root, how the vascular tissues or vascular bundle carries the water mineral to the upward part of the plant, means in the upward direction. That's why it is occur through two types. One is your root pressure and second one is transpirational pull or transpiration pull. We already discussed a little about root pressure. Today we will study this in an elaborate way. So what is root pressure? Root pressure means, as we know, the concentration gradient between the soil and the root is different. Means if the concentration gradient is maximum in the soil and minimum in the root hairs, then it is observed. Clear? So how it is observed? It is observed through osmosis or through actively. So here we can say that various ions accumulated on the in the soil is observed by the root hairs. Clear, students? So as I have also told you that if the water potential in the soil is greater than that of root, if water potential is higher, then water will move, and along with water different mineral ions also moved, which tends to rise the water in upward direction. So here the root pressure is exactly what? When root enters into the soil, and in the root there are some narrow vessels are present, that are tracheids and vessels which are called as tracheary elements. As their area is less, so pressure is more, due to which when the soil penetrates into the soil, when the root penetrates into the soil, then the water moves in the upward direction by creating a difference between the water concentration, solute concentration with regard to root and soil. So here is the root pressure explains exactly that, how the movement of water and ions occur. Clear, students? Also I have told you hydrostatic pressure, positive hydrostatic pressure, negative hydrostatic pressure. This is also caused by the root. We are studying about how upward movement of water and minerals take place in plants. So here the root pressure which we are studying now. So by root pressure I have told you concentration gradient means the water potential, solute potential. Then the hydrostatic pressure means positive and negative hydrostatic pressure. Again, if we see, the absorption by root is maximum at the daytime and minimum at the night time. But when we want to see the amount of water that is present maximum in the plant, that is during early in the morning or at night. So how do we know? If we cut the part of root or stem or any other part, then we can see some liquids are oozed out. Also in autumn season, you see that water droplets are fall from the leaves. So this type of releasing of water from plants is called as guttation. So guttation is the removal of water in the form of liquid. Removal of water in the form of liquid is called as guttation. Guttation. Clear, students? So what is guttation? So loss of water in the form of liquid, and this can be seen maximum in herbaceous plants. Let's understand herbaceous plants. Suppose if you want to see the movement of water in a large plant and you cut the stem or the whole plant, then the amount of liquid is less. But when you cut a small plant, a herb, then the amount of water is more. So why this occurred? As we know that if the area decreases, means if the height of the plant decreases, then the speed of transportation is also maximum. Suppose when you switch on your motor, which takes water to the tanks that is in your rooftop. So in that case, if the tank is placed high, then it takes more time, and if the tank is placed in the low distance, then it takes less time. So this takes more time, this takes less time. So in this way, if the plant is small in size, then the pressure is maximum and the water stored in the plant is also maximum. So here I have told you to see guttation, means removal of water in the form of liquid, can be seen in the herbaceous plants, means you can say in herbs. Clear, students? So to know how the water transported, if we cut the cross section of a leaf, then you can see this is the vein, and as you know that veins contain the vascular tissue. If you cut these sections, then you can't see the vascular bundles in large amount. So here the vascular bundles are present in large amount like this. This is phloem and this is xylem. So this type of arrangement of vascular tissues on the vein of leaves is called as hydrothodes, or you can say as hydathodes. These are called as hydathodes. Is that clear, students? So how water is transported to each and every part of the plant, that is through vascular tissue or vascular bundle, means xylem and phloem, and they are present in different parts of the plant in different number. That's why, as we know that the leaf requires more water as photosynthesis occurs in leaf. So leaf requires water. That's why the number of vascular tissue or vascular bundles are present at the vein region of the leaf. This is the mid vein. These are the veins. Then again these are veins. These are veinlets. Means smaller part veinlet, then larger part vein, and the most larger part is mid vein, or you can say as midrib. So this part contains the vascular bundle or vascular tissue through which water is transported towards the leaf, and leaf synthesizes or photosynthesis. Photosynthesis occurs. So due to water movement or water transport, photosynthesis occurs. That's why we can say that in tall trees the greatest contribution of root pressure may be re-established due to a pressure difference, solute difference, and concentration between them. This is also how water reaches to the leaves. And here I have told you that herbaceous plants, how water reaches to these herbaceous plants. Now let's see how in tall plants the water movement occurs. As we know, there is a water channel is continuously formed. Means suppose this is a large plant. This is a large plant, and these are the root hairs. These root hairs, observe, this is soil, this is root, these are root hairs. Here I have told you the transportation should be in a great height in the upward direction. So here the movement of water never cuts off. It means there continuously transport of or movement of water occurs. So how this occurs? Listen, here is the gradient, or suppose for water potential or the molecules of water is less, and here is more. This is less water molecules. So from more water molecules means from the region of high concentration to the region of low concentration, and in this way the water molecules move towards the leaves like this, and during its movement there is a difference is created, and that difference is maintained by the continuous movement of the water molecules, due to which they regularly reach to the leaf continuously and the channel will not stop. So if you see the diagram, you can understand how transportation occurs in a leaf. Clear, students? Sometimes it breaks due to production of or producing tension between the root and the soil. Sometimes it stops. Its flow decreases due to creation of tension between the root and the soil. It means, suppose for long time the plant is so high and for long time there is no water is gained by the soil, or not extra water is gained by the soil. In this case, this is not that the water will not flow, but in a less, very negligible amount. So keep continuing the water channel, the root hairs and the root spread up to a depth in the soil. Means it goes a very high depth in the soil, due to which they can regularly conserve or regularly absorb water from the soil and to continue the water channel between the roots and the leaves. Clear, students? So let's now understand about transpiration. Means we are studying about upward movement in plant, and here we saw that how root pressure help in the upward direction. Here, as you know, root pressure means root when goes into deep, as there are narrow vessels are present, so they create a capillary force or capillarity, due to which the water from the soil rises up and goes to different parts of the plant. Next, we will study about transpirational pull. Transpirational pull. What do you mean by pull? Pull means खींचना. Clear? So due to transpiration, transpiration means, how you will define transpiration? This is the process of removal of water in the form of water vapor through leaf. It means transpiration is a process in which the water is released in the form of water vapor. Means water have three different forms: solid, liquid and gas. In this case, water releases from the leaf in gaseous state. Means we can say as vapor. To know this, we can demonstrate an experiment that if we, suppose this is a plant, and if we cover this plant by the help of a polythene, then after some time we see some water droplets are attached to this. They are the water droplets. Then from where these water droplets come? It proves that not only absorption of water occurs through root, but also evaporation or transpiration occurs. And due to transpiration, the root pulls water from the soil like a straw. When you suck the juice by the help of a straw, then from the glass it decreases, and a continuous flow occurs between the glass and your mouth. Exactly as evaporation occurs or transpiration occurs, so due to transpiration, means here pulling of water occurs by the root. So here which force creates that pulling or tends to cause pulling? Here the process is called as transpirational pull. Means due to loss of water, the root absorbs water from the soil. This is called transpirational pull. And the transpiration means the removal of water in the form of water vapor. And students, this is also called as adhesion and cohesion transpirational pull, or cohesion and adhesion transpirational pull. Clear? It means cohesion means the attraction between the same molecules, means between the water molecules, and adhesion means attraction between the water molecules as well as the molecules of the element through which it is transported. So here transpirational pull is occur in plant due to cohesion and adhesion force. Clear? So let's understand the next topic, that is your transpiration and how this occur. Here just I gave you the introduction about transpiration, and here you understand that how due to transpirational pull water is absorbed by the root and supplied to different parts of the plant. Remember students, if the plant absorbs 100% of water, only 1 to 2% of water is used by the leaf. Then where does the rest of water goes? The rest of water goes to the environment, due to which the environment have a moisture in it, and that moisture come from the plant, and the plant take in the water from the soil. So in this way the rotation of water cycle occurs, means absorbed by the root, then released to the atmosphere, then rainfall occurs, again absorbed by the root. So in this way cyclic manner, we can say as cyclic manner. So students, now let's understand transpiration. Transpiration occurs mainly through the stomata. You know about stomata. This is stomata. Clear? And this is the guard cell. This is stomata. Stomata are small openings present on the leaf, and through this stomatal pore, the water is released out from the plant. So if we see this, then we can know that there are some microfibrils are present which tends to contraction and expansion. They are called as microfibrils. And here transpiration occurs through the stomata, as I have told you. Means water loss occurs only through stomata. So if the leaf has maximum number of stomata, then the transpiration will be maximum. And if the leaf has minimum number of stomata, then the transpiration will be minimum. Clear students? It means if we see the diagram of dorsoventral leaf, in dorsoventral leaf, it is you can say the dorsal side and ventral side contain different number of stomata. The dorsal and ventral side contain different number of stomata. Means if you see the leaf is like this. This is the ventral side, and sorry, this is the dorsal side, and this is the ventral side. Clear? The portion which is directly towards the sun, in that portion evaporation will be maximum or transpiration will be maximum, and that portion that is below or away from the sun or heat, that have less transpiration. So in dorsoventral leaf, the side that is towards the sun contains less stomata. This is because to decrease transpiration. If transpiration will be maximum, then it may affect the rate of photosynthesis. Means all the waters, as we know, during photosynthesis the stomata will open. Why open? Because it have to trap carbon dioxide for synthesizing sugar or glucose. So when its opening occurs, at that moment the water also loses. That's why plants' own adaptation is varying their number of stomata. So in case of dorsoventral leaf or in dicot plants, the leaf is dorsoventral. The dorsal side contains, means the dorsal side contains less and the ventral side contains more. Why? Due to decrease the rate of transpiration if the stomata will get open. And you may see sometimes during the noon, when the sun is shining brightly, at that moment the leaves curl. The leaves curl, like suppose this leaf is straight in the morning, but if you see this leaf is like, it means it curls. Why this curls? This curls to reduce the loss of water, and the curling of this leaf is occurs due to the myofibrils present in the stomata. So they decrease the absorption of water and decrease the rate of photosynthesis, due to which the stomata get reduced, means it get closed, and the leaf get curled. Clear, students? But in case of isobilateral leaf, which is seen in monocots, the leaf is isobilateral. Isobilateral means its dorsal and ventral side are same, means equally exposed to light, due to which the number of stomata is also equal. That's why the rate of transpiration is maximum in monocots when it is compared to dicots. Clear? So this is the phenomenon to decrease the rate of transpiration. We will study about photosynthesis and transpiration and compromise, why this is called so. In our next class, you just here try to understand that what is transpiration. Transpiration is the process of removal of water in the form of water vapor through leaf, means through the stomata, and that transpiration occurs or depends on different plants like your dicots and your monocots. In dicots, the leaf is dorsoventral, whereas in monocots the leaf is isobilateral, due to which the dicot leaves show less transpiration, whereas monocot leaves show, means isobilateral leaves show more transpiration. Clear? So in this way, or during the noon when the sunlight is maximum, then the leaf get curled to decrease the rate of transpiration. So they are different processes that take place in plant to decrease transpiration. Clear, students? Clear? So next we will study the factors affecting transpiration. Which factors affect the rate of transpiration? So let's understand factors affecting that affects the rate of transpiration. Some external factor as well as internal factor. Which affects the rate of photosynthesis. Then what are the external factors? We can say the external factors is temperature, humidity, wind flow. Clear? Temperature, humidity, wind flow, light. These are the external factors which affects the rate of transpiration. Rate of transpiration means whether the rate of transpiration means the amount of transpiration, loss of water from the plant is maximum or minimum, that is decided by some external factors as well as internal factors. And here are the examples of the external factors, means temperature. You can easily understand, if temperature is high, then the rate of transpiration will be maximum. If the temperature is humidity, then the rate of transpiration is minimum. It means if already water molecules or water vapors are present on the atmosphere, then the plant will release less water to the atmosphere. But if the atmosphere have temperature high or more temperature, then it releases more water through evaporation. That's why temperature, high temperature, more transpiration, low temperature, less transpiration. If humidity is maximum, then the rate of transpiration is minimum. Again, wind flow. Wind flow is also an important factor to affect, which affects the rate of transpiration. Means if wind flow occurs, the rate of transpiration will also high. Clear? Exactly. Light also a factor. If light, maximum light the plant gets, if light is maximum, then temperature is maximum, then the rate of transpiration is also maximum. So these are the external factors, how they affect the rate of transpiration, means whether transpiration rate is maximum or minimum, that not only depend on some external factors but also depend on some internal factors. Here I have told you the external factors, and the external factors are temperature, humidity, wind flow and light. And the internal factors, what are the internal factors? Do you know? The internal factors are stomata. The internal factor is your stomata. It means if the number of stomata is maximum, then the transpiration is also maximum. Clear? Again, water status of the plant. Water status of the plant. Then canopy structure. Canopy structure. Let's understand. Suppose, let's understand from stomata. Suppose here as I have explained you that the difference between dorsoventral leaf and isobilateral leaf, the number of stomata is different. So if the plant has many stomata, then the rate of transpiration is maximum. So stomata is an internal factor. More stomata, more transpiration. And here, water status of the plant. If the plant is growing in a desert condition or in a mesic condition, means on land, or in a hydrous condition, means on in water. If the plant that growing in water shows more evaporation, more transpiration, as the absorption is high. If it live in the desert condition, then the transpiration is less. It has different type of adaptations to stop transpiration. So they are the internal factors. Again, the canopy. Canopy means like you can say many leaves overlap with on each other, like this type of plant. This type of plant means if more leaves are exposed to light, then evaporation or transpiration is more. So in canopy arrangement, the leaves are not directly come towards or face towards light or temperature, due to which transpiration get decreased. So students, here I have told you the factors that affecting transpiration. External factors you understand, internal factors also understand. Number of stomata decides the rate of transpiration, water status of the plant decides the rate of transpiration, and canopy arrangement, like if they are arranged in a tight way or close to each other, then the rate of transpiration is minimum. So for today, this is all about your topic. Next we will study about mineral intake or uptake in plants.